Hey, welcome back to Pop Culture Graveyard. I am Hollis, and this week I'm going to be bringing you a July 4th mix. That is a bunch of songs that all have some tenuous connection to July 4th. It's going to be a mix not unlike my Halloween mix, which is basically a playlist of YouTube videos for all of these songs. I'll be putting a link to the playlist below. This episode will be the first video in the playlist, so if it starts over again, just click next and you're on to the playlist. I decided to do this episode last week, and then over the weekend this happened, and I am not feeling very patriotic. Full disclosure, I do not have a uterus, but I love plenty of people who do, and I hate that their human rights are being infringed upon. Women always get a shit deal. This New York Times shows pro-lifers celebrating and pro-choice people despondent. If this is what Republicans can accomplish under a Democratic president, then imagine what Democrats who actually gave a shit could do under a Democratic president. Where are the angry Democrats? Where are my Democrats? I usually don't get political. And if this is going to piss some of you off, I'm sorry, there's a million other channels you can go to. This is what it looks like when misogyny is weaponized. This is what it looks like when you win the Civil War, but you lose the Reconstruction. We can't keep trying to have two different countries inside of one nation. Why can't New York and California and anybody that wants to come with us go and have our lefty politics and take care of human beings and have empathy for people? And then we'll leave the rest of you to become the white Taliban. This is insane. This is insanity. This is insanity. The wheels of this country have obviously come off. The car is in the driveway. Let's work on the fucking car and get it rolling in the right direction again. I have such a headache. I love women. My mother and my two older sisters pretty much raised me. They're responsible for the better parts of my nature. It's incomprehensible to me that there are that many people that hate women, that something like this could happen. It's just a very dark day in America. In closing, I'll leave you with some words from the late, great Adam Yauch. I want to say a little something that's long overdue. The disrespect to women has got to be through. To all the mothers and the sisters and the wives and friends, I want to offer my love and respect to the end. Before we get going, if you would like to help support Pop Culture Graveyard, please consider joining my Patreon. It's at patreon.com/Pop Culture Graveyard. And thanks. I realize I may lose a few subscribers by getting political. Bye. Bye bye. Bye. Don't let the door hit you where the good Lord split you. For the rest of you, enjoy the mix. Although this mix has a theme, there's nothing on it that I wouldn't listen to ordinarily. So for example, you will not find Born in the USA by Bruce Springsteen. Yeah, I know. Heartbreaking. Anyway, American Girl by Tom Petty. Some people see this as a suicide song, but that's way too simple to be true. This reads to me as the story of a girl who gave her heart to someone only to see it shattered, leaving her to pick up the pieces, forever unable to escape the memory of the relationship that might have been. What is undeniable is that the music is very pretty, not unlike the prettiest songs by the Byrds, and the lyrics are delightfully vague, yet speak to people yearning for way more than their current existence. If that ain't American, I don't know what is. Young Americans by David Bowie. This sizzling critique of the American dream by an artist who is able to view this country as both a British citizen and as a true New Yorker is a lyrical feast, stuffed with hip yet playful references to Barbie dolls, Cadillacs, pimps, hustlers, suicide, sex, and even Richard Milhouse Nixon. A highlight on David Bowie's album of the same name. Young Americans reads as much as a celebration as it does a rebuke, and fits in well between most songs. U.S. Drag by Missing Persons. Featuring a dizzying array of time signatures, this funky stutter step stomp off this band's brilliant 1982 LP Spring Session M, showcases Terry Bozzio's genius drumming better than most tracks. Over an almost drone-inducing rototom groove, I believe US Drag's lyrics are about the malaise that the band suffers on their seemingly endless tours across this country. But it also works for anyone who feels overloaded at times by America's neon glow and jukebox blare. Independence Day by Elliott Smith. Possibly the best lyricist on this list. Elliott Smith gives us the musical equivalent to the anti-bullying campaign that states, "It gets better." The song's narrator is preaching patience to a friend having a hard time, and its plea for patience is a lesson to us all. I saw you out a perfect place. It's gonna happen soon, but not today. So go to sleep amid the change. I'll meet you here tomorrow, Independence Day. American Music by Violent Femmes. This song manages to pay tribute to every type of American music without actually naming any American music. Instead, it simply feels like an homage, thanks to a very familiar musical shuffle, which is riddled with pop and rock references, including the song Speeding Up, much like Heroin does by the Velvet Underground, and the use of timpani and sleigh bells that recall the works of Phil Spector and the Beach Boys. The band does mention the very American going to the prom and drugs. And if you are going to prom, I can only imagine that drugs enhance the experience. Reject All American by Bikini Kill, one of my favorite Bikini Kill songs off my favorite Bikini Kill album. I defy you not to sing along to the song's chorus. If you work hard, you'll succeed. A starring role on Nothing Incorporated. In American Dream, Love and Rockets. In American Dream boasts 12-string acoustic brilliance, an anthemic feel, and haunting backing vocals. So let's blame this excess on An American Dream. So let's blame the success of An American Dream. One of many highlights on a killer LP. Up next, North American Scum by LCD Sound System. This tongue-in-cheek track from Dance Floor Commando's LCD Sound System takes the wind out of anti-American sales by taking the piss out of themselves. And this is one of the few songs to correctly highlight the distinction between New York and the rest of America. And yes, there is a very real difference. Party Out of Bounds, the B-52s. This is an evergreen, as it makes any party mixtape better. And you'll appreciate the song as your July 4th party backdrop, especially if you have party crashers getting bombed, bombed, bombed. Up next, Miss America by David Byrne. As many tracks have before, this song personifies America as a beautiful lady. But unlike the usual patriotic pablum, this track delivers a delicious lyrical bite. I love America, but boy can she be cruel. I know how tall she is without her platform shoes. Up next, American Music by the Blasters. I searched everywhere, I can't find my Blasters album. For those of you who like a countrified take, I offer the Blasters, one of the most underrated roots rock purveyors this country has ever produced. Brothers Dave and Phil Alvin pay tribute to this nation's soundtrack with a fervor that is hard to match. American Nightmare by the Misfits, featuring Glenn Danzig channeling his best Elvis voice. And recorded in one take, American Nightmare is one of the Misfits' most underrated songs. Punctuated with hand claps and featuring a lyrical blur of axe murderers, endless highways, and roadway signs reading 666, this terrifying travelogue showcases everything great about the Misfits. American by the Descendants. I discussed this song when speaking about some of my favorite singles. It's a wonderful take on what true patriotism means, and this blast of punk adrenaline casts a very jaundiced eye on America, specifically detailing how its history is written in blood. Being a Descendants song, though, it's as easy on the ears as anything the band has ever done. Living in America by The Sounds. No, not the James Brown song. This slice of pop perfection is by the underrated Swedish band The Sounds, off their album of the same name, and it puts the US on blast that the rest of the world isn't buying their jingoism. It is a glorious jam that doesn't so much put down the US as it does hold up a mirror. We're not living in America, but we're not sorry. I knew there was something that we never had. we don't worry. For the rest of this week's episode, please join my Patreon at patreon.com/popculturegraveyard or click above for more free content.